One of the most interesting thing of our generation is that we are almost always conscious of what time is. We wear watches, our mobiles are with time on it, whether we are in our office or home or school or hospital or even in the car that we are traveling. Everywhere while we go during the day, there is almost a clock somewhere nearby, or at least 100 times in a day or more, we find ourselves looking to see what the time is. Probably the most common question people ask about time is, what time is it? Even right now, as I'm talking to you, I've got a clock right in front of me so that I can be sure I do not go too long. All of us are very time conscious. But once in a while, we might get involved in a novel and we just lose time of what the time is, or maybe in a hobby that we enjoy, or in some interesting activity that we get wrapped in, and we say, "Oh, I just lost track of time." But even though we lose track of time for a while, we are very quick to recover back. We find it again and we know what time it is because we are all very time conscious. Now, the problem is that's not really the most important question to ask about time. I want to learn to start asking a better question. The best question to ask when it comes to time is not what time is it, but what am I doing with my time? Not what time is it, but what am I doing with my time? See, the problem with always asking what time it is that it is just a constant reminder of something that is probably the most depressing part of our life. It's a constant reminder that my time is running out. Am I not happy that today I woke up and I'm doing this particular video? But I also feel sad because my time is running out. But of course, I really can't avoid being reminded of this, even if I'm not doing this video, because we all have calendars that tell us how fast the months and the years are going back. And we have watches that tell us how fast the hours and minutes are going by. Some of us even have the watches with second hands on it, which remind us how fast everything is going. Because the second hand can actually show us how our life is slipping away. You can just take your mobile with the seconds hand in it, and you can actually watch your life slipping away right in front of your eyes. Tick tock, tick tock. Yes, that is your life slipping away right now. Of course, the older you get, the faster the time goes. When I was a kid, I used to feel the summer vacation, it used to take forever to come back. But now, as an adult, I feel every time I turn around there, the summer vacation is there already. You are just not over with paying off your annuity bills that the next bill is already on the table. Now, the whole idea of time is going by so quickly that at times I have a doubt whether are there still 24 hours in a day, or has it been shortened to 10 hours or some? Because I feel the time is going out so quickly. Actually, the whole idea of time going by quickly is actually there in the Bible. There's a lot of scripture in the Bible that deals with the subject of time and how it flies away. When we read from the book of Job, chapter 7, verse 6, "My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and they come to an end without hope." We will not find this verse in any morning messages or in a get well card, because this is not something that will give us a smile. And that's not all what the book of Job says. In Job 9, verse 25, it says, "My days are swifter than a runner, they fly away without a glimpse of joy." I feel Job is little depressed. But this is a reminder that every time that we look at our watches or at the clock or on our mobile time, it's a reminder that time is really going quickly. We all know that as a kid, we were always waiting anxiously to grow older. We can't get, we can't wait to get another year, and we just are waiting. When will we be the teenager? When will we be that adult? But at that some point that stops. Usually, sometimes in our 20s, we start not getting so thrilled that we are a year older. But then there is eventually comes to a point. I don't know if those of you who are listening are there yet, but eventually there comes to a point of instead of thinking how old are you, we start thinking about how much time we have left. I have read many articles that shows that generally happens to people that sometimes by the time they reach the age of 40 and 50, it's not same for everyone, but at some time we start to stop thinking about our age. And the Bible has a lot to say about it. Now we can see one of the most famous people in the Bible, Moses. Moses actually wrote Psalms 90. But now, before we look at it, why do we think Moses might be a good person to tell us about time? We know his story that Moses was born as a Hebrew but raised as an Egyptian prince, and someday he sees the Hebrew slaves being beaten up, and he loses his temper and he kills an Egyptian and has to flee the country. And he goes from living as a prince in an Egyptian palace to a person living as in secret in the wilderness, watching the sheep for a living of his father-in-law. Now here is something to think about. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness watching the sheep. What have I been doing for the last 40 years? That's how long Moses was in the wilderness. That means now I'm 40 years old, a lifetime. In fact, he spent what we would consider his best 40 years during the prime of his life. And we feel basically accomplishing nothing, just watching the sheep in the wilderness. Every day was the same. I guess he didn't even need a watch like we do. Sun was up, he had to go watch the sheep. If the sun was down, he had to come back with the sheep. Same thing every day, 40 years of nothing. And then one day, God shows up and says, "Moses, I actually have another plan for you, another purpose for your life." And we all know this part of the story. Moses goes back to Egypt, and with some fights with Pharaoh, he finally leads the Israelite people out of the slavery. And for the rest of his life, he is the leader of this nation of the millions of people. From a wealthy prince to a nothing shepherd to a leader of a nation of millions. Everyone was demanding his time when he became the leader of the nations. And we read in the Bible, he doesn't have enough time in his day. The Bible tells us how he was on the edge of burnout when his father-in-law had to come in rescue of him. So with that background, I feel Moses can give the real insight about time when he shares in the Psalms that he wrote. Moses says we need to see the big picture of where he is. He says that the key to your life, you should understand how your life and your time fits into the big picture of God. If we understand that, we can understand the point of life. If we don't understand that, then eventually we begin to ask, what is the point of it all?